Hello again everybody, and welcome to another Karud video. And in this one, as the title suggests, I am going to be reviewing the Tomei 1.5-Way differential that I recently installed in my 370Z. For those of you who have been following my channel, you will know that I recently got this installed, and today I will be reviewing it, explaining why you should or shouldn't buy one, and what my personal take is on this differential. And it is pretty windy outside, guys, so let's go ahead and get back in the car. So let me talk to you guys a little bit about why I decided to upgrade from the open diff that came with my base model 370Z to a clutch type 1.5-way limited slip diff from Tomei. With an open differential, the differential housing itself actually has an opening in the casing that allows you to see the different spider gears in there, hence open type differential. With this type of diff, the wheels are allowed to spin at different rates as you would expect with any sort of differential, but because there is no way to be able to lock the half axles on acceleration, whenever one of the tires breaks traction, for instance, maybe it gets stuck in the mud, or maybe you are trying to get going from a standstill, if one wheel breaks traction, all of the torque from the motor will go to that one wheel, and it'll force the one wheel to spin, and you will not end up getting the traction that you're looking for. A limited slip differential seeks to solve this problem by adding a mechanism with which the wheels can become locked up on acceleration. With the 370Z, if you get the sports model or above, you will get a viscous type limited slip differential. This type of diff uses some fluid inside the differential so that when one of the wheels becomes locked up, the fluid gets heated up and it causes friction between the differential housing and the half axle. This locks the wheels, forces them to spin at the same speed, and allows you to put the traction down more effectively. The other type of differential that you often see, and the one that I have installed in my 370Z, is a clutch type limited slip differential. With this type of diff, you have a pressure ring that surrounds the shaft for the pinion gear, and whenever the car is accelerating, the shaft itself ends up getting forced against these pressure rings, and these pressure rings get pushed out against a series of clutch plates. These clutch plates then lock the wheels, and then of course the amount of acceleration that you're undergoing changes the amount of pressure that you're applying to these clutch plates, so that they may not lock up all the way if, for instance, you're just trying to go around a corner and you're not putting a whole lot of power down. So that way the wheels can spin at different rates without full lockup, and that helps conserve the tires. And aside from viscous and clutch type options for your LSD, you can also go with a one-way, 1.5-way, or two-way option. Two-way option means that the lockup occurs both under acceleration as well as under braking. This is good if you want to drift, because with the full lockup on braking, your car will be able to kick the rear end out as you enter the corner, and then you can send yourself into a drift. With a 1.5-way type diff, this is what you'll typically want for track use. You won't get the full lockup whenever you're braking, but you'll still have some lockup to help increase the stability when you are approaching a corner. And then with a one-way, you'll only get lockup on acceleration. This is typically good if you are trying to conserve money, because one-ways are typically cheaper than 1.5-way and two-way type diffs. Clutch type differentials do tend to handle more torque as well than limited slip type differentials, so if you have a high powered vehicle that you're looking for an LSD for, typically a clutch type diff is going to be a better bet. Now, the differential that I have chosen to go with is the Tomei Technitrax 1.5-way LSD. I went for the 1.5-way because I do eventually intend this to be for track use. I went with Tomei because they are a good middle-of-the-ground brand. They are not on the expensive end of the spectrum, such as Kaz, where you'll spend about $1,200 on your diff. This differential ran me about $900, but of course, after you get all of the other materials and things that you need to be able to upgrade this, you're going to be spending well over 4 digits. To give you a better idea of the cost for this project, the differential ran me about $900. The upgrade kit that I used, which included a high-capacity oil cover, some gear oil, as well as some other additional equipment that you need for the install, ran me about $300, and this doesn't include the $100 in shims that I ended up having to buy when I ended up bending one of them, as well as just to be able to adjust the diff properly. And then of course there may be some additional tools that you buy as well, and you can see that this project will easily end up costing you upwards of $1,500. So just keep that in mind. This is not an inexpensive upgrade. You will end up spending a fair amount of money to be able to do this properly, but once you've been able to go for a drive in it, you'll understand why it's completely worth it. Whenever I am trying to exit a corner, I can put the power down a lot sooner and come on the throttle a lot harder as well. With the open differential, if I tried to put down any amount of power while I was still in the corner, I would usually break traction on the outside wheel, but with this differential I can feel the lockup and I can actually feel the power trying to drive me through the corner and onto the straightaway. That is a huge difference in performance that is difficult to catch on camera, but it is very noticeable in the steering. It also seems like I can hit the apex of the corner a little bit faster now. It seems like throughout the entire corner I can stay on the throttle a little bit and be powering myself through the entire turn. To show you guys what I'm on about, I am approaching a loop in the road at a much faster speed than is probably recommended. The recommended speed for this turn is about 25 miles an hour, and I am currently approaching it at 55. Downshift. And I am actually able to keep the power down through most of the turn. And then on the exit I can step on the gas, full throttle, and it doesn't even break traction. Now of course I do not encourage you guys to go and push your cars out on the street like that, but that is largely impressive. There's also a noticeable improvement in my ability to be able to launch off the line, because normally with my open diff I would just get a one wheel peel as all of the power ended up getting sent to the one wheel when I was attempting to launch. But with this differential now, both of the wheels are receiving torque evenly, and I don't get nearly as much tire spin when I am getting off the line. And that's all good and well, but let's talk about some of the things that are not so great about this differential. Number one is it is fairly noisy. When you are getting off the line, you can sometimes hear the pressure plates moving and the clutches engaging. I personally don't mind that as much. I like hearing a little bit of mechanical noise from the car, but it gets really bad when you are trying to take tight turns. Tight turns, such as those that you experience when trying to navigate a parking lot, are not fun in any way, shape, or form. If you're going to get this type of differential, you are not going to have a whole lot of fun here. When you are trying to pull into a spot, or if you're trying to go around a corner, you basically have two options now. You can either try and coast through the corner in neutral by putting your clutch in, or just by setting it in neutral. What will end up happening is if your differential has heated up enough, you're going to begin to hear quite a lot of mechanical noise and clutch chatter from the differential. Alright, so here we are navigating through a parking lot. I'm coming up on a tight turn, so we're going to go ahead and put it in neutral. And you can hear the clutch kind of chattering there a little bit and coming up on another corner. Yeah, so that's not a very fun noise. So if you do decide to clutch in or put it in neutral when navigating a parking lot, this is something you will have to deal with. You will have people looking at your car thinking that something's wrong with it. I've even had passengers sit there and tell me that something is wrong with my car, but it is absolutely a normal noise. You do hear it with the cause differential as well. The other option though, if you don't want to clutch in going around your corner, is to go ahead and keep it in gear. But then the problem with that is you do get a lot of wheel hop or tire squeal, because the differential acts like a welded diff when at low speeds. So here we are navigating the parking lot again, and we are going to take a tight turn, but we're going to leave the clutch engaged this time. Yeah, so those are the tires kind of just hopping around a little bit and making quite a lot of noise. It also really wears the tires out. And you can even see some of the tire marks that I'm leaving behind here. If you can see your tire marks, that means you are, of course, wearing the tires out. And this noise can be equally annoying and draw a bunch of unwanted attention to your car. Plus, leaving it in gear also means that you are going to be wearing the tires out a little bit faster, because they're not able to spin at different rates. So no matter which way you choose, it is going to hurt your daily drivability a little bit. You are going to have to sort of relearn to drive the car to try and limit the amount of unwanted noise that comes from the rear end. Usually when you drive for the first 10 to 20 miles or so, you can kick it in neutral when navigating a parking lot, because it doesn't really make the clutch chatter noise until it's gotten warmed up. But after you've really gotten it heated up correctly, it's going to be making that clutch chatter noise. So it's kind of up to you what you want to do there. Just understand that it will be very difficult to navigate parking lots in a very smooth manner. To help smooth out the way the car drives going through corners, I have found that it does help if you turn off the traction control system, especially for low speed corners, because when the tires do want to slip, the car will end up trying to throttle back on the power a bit, because it's thinking that it is slipping the tires. So that does make it a little bit difficult sometimes to battle the car with that. So I have found that turning off the traction control does help a little bit. and then also trying to take corners as quickly as you can without being dangerous or stupid. But if you can take corners a little bit quicker, it does help, because this limited slip diff is basically meant for track use. So if you can go at a higher rate of speed, it does help with the smoothness of operation. Viscous limited slip diffs can be a little bit more forgiving here, but if you do go for a clutch type differential like I do, these are some of the things that you do have to deal with. The second disadvantage of this differential is going to be the excess tire wear. If you're going around a tight corner and you're leaving it in gear, the wheels are going to be spinning at about the same rate, and they will be traveling at different speeds around the corner, which means that you are going to have some additional wear as the tires end up rubbing on the pavement a little bit. So you will probably end up replacing your rear tires a little bit more often. This is something that you're going to have to expect if you're going with this differential. And the third and final thing that I'm going to point out to you guys that you need to take into consideration if you are going to get this diff is going to be the extra maintenance. This type of differential does require you to change the oil pretty much as frequently as you change the oil in your car. So anytime you're going to do an oil change, you're basically going to be changing out the oil in your engine, and you should be changing out the oil in your diff. The actual manual that this thing came with tells you to do it about every 3,000 miles. So I'm basically just going to be doing it roughly every 6 months or so when I'm doing my oil changes. So you will be spending more money on oil as well, and be spending a lot more time having to maintenance it. That pretty much concludes the lists of downsides that I wanted to discuss with you. You're going to have some excess noise coming from the rear end. It is going to wear the tires out a little bit more, and there will be some additional maintenance that is going to be required to run this differential. But if you can handle all of that, a limited slip differential, especially a clutch type, is going to be absolutely worth it. When you feel that extra control going around the corner, it's all going to make sense. And that is pretty much it for the differential review. And I did check my channel recently, and it looks like we're up to 900 subscribers. I didn't actually plan to get this far. I didn't think I'd be able to grow my channel like this. But thank you to all who have subscribed and have been following me. I am coming up on 1,000 subscribers. That's supposed to happen sometime in mid-August. I wasn't planning on doing a Q&A video or anything. That's not something that I really was looking at doing. But if you guys are interested in having a Q&A session, you can submit questions to me on my Instagram at @TheHorizon. Just go ahead and send me whatever questions you guys happen to have. If I get enough of them, then I'll do a Q&A video. Otherwise, I'll continue with my regular videos. Again, thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see y'all in the next one.